that's where all the hate was. So yeah, I knew that it had his fingerprints all over it, but it was also really, I think, at the heart of it, and let's just cut to it. At the heart of it, John, it was all built up, I think, to sort of politic, because there happened to be in the crowd a gentleman that I spoke to who apparently, and let me get back to it. You kind of interrupted me earlier.
I apologize.
When all the quote unquote fake news happened, I put a post on Facebook that basically told my friends, hey, I couldn't tell all of the population of West Virginia that saw it. Many people from Mount Hope, people's moms that I went to school with, saying, I saw you on TV. I knew that wasn't right. And
right.
I couldn't get into my office. 3 people stopped me from the parking lot to my office. And 2 of those conversations wasn't pleasant.
Right.
So
because the fake news spun you in a bad light, and they thought they were actually setting you in a light that you would like for them to.
Guess what I did? On the info, in the info war, I took one for the president there. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So better they talk about me, better they slam me than him, because it would have been all about him if this hadn't happened. And I see that now. Things, the Lord works in mysterious ways. But it also goes deeper, because I make this post, and I'm going to read it to you. Note to friends. I was there interviewing protesters. As I was leaving, I was asked to do an interview for this local Fox CBS affiliate. In the aired piece, I am listed as a participant. I, in capital letters, did not protest, and in no way do I support the Affordable Care Act. I merely thank the group for their peaceful protest. And then I go on to plug episode 15 so that anybody who may be interested can kind of delve into it. So,
get an actual background rather than what they were fed by media.
This is from the actual. I posted the actual piece that they did on me, and then underneath it, I post my video of what actually happened.
Mm-hmm.
And a few people came on. Hardy Barrett's mom came on and commented. 5 people, I'm sorry, 7 people liked my post. Okay. And nobody saw it. Nobody came to me and said a word. So I think there's something nefarious there, but again, that's going to be a whole nother subject. Because the day before, I posted a picture of fried green tomatoes, and fried green tomatoes are fabulous. I'm going to admit
absolutely.
That.
I seen that post.
Like 50. Well, you did see that. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, that's funny that I didn't see your interview, though. And again, let's just, to make everyone that may be listening now understand, I don't live on Facebook. I catch it sporadically as I can, and I have a lot of friends, and there are a lot of posts that sometimes I just can't see. However, I did see that one about the fried green tomatoes, and it's ironic to me that I could see the fried green tomatoes, but I couldn't see my best friends on TV.
Well,
that blows my mind.
It was a post I made, and the thing is the algorithm knew that I'm conservative. It knew that I was posting a political article, and it stifled me. 45 plus people, I believe. Now I'm not going to go back through and verify how many likes I had. I think it was 45, 55, something like that, likes of a picture of a plate of fried green tomatoes and a quinoa stuffed pepper.
Right.
Okay? But I post, a podcast, a video, and there were I don't know how many replies, but the majority of these replies were, like I said, just 7 of the people I know saw this, and it's almost like I was shadow banned. Okay, a good friend of mine, well, you know him too, a good friend of ours, Mr. Micah Gwynn. He posted, "You did a great job, Sean. Unfortunately, those morons were screaming so loudly that it was difficult to hear some of what was being said."
Right.
And like I said, Hardy's mom said, "Perfect example of people not listening. Nice try, Sean." So those are 2. And then, and here we are at the duel, okay? And I do want to point out that Sith Lords are my speciality. But, so...
we go together this time.
Yeah, well, let's do it, John Williamson. So, in comes one of these protesters. Didn't get the guy's name while I was there, but I did get him on camera. He was the guy with the Veterans for Peace and Air Force hat on. And
I remember you thanking him for his service. I remember hearing that specifically.
I did that because I appreciate what he did. So, but here's the thing. I can't really align with a lot of what he's behind. But let's get into what he says. And this is just out of nowhere. I'm sitting down actually after several hard, long days of putting together a podcast and looking up all these people and trying to dig a little deeper into actually who was behind and what was going on, what really was happening there. So I was worn out, dude, and I just wanted to sit down. But, bam, in comes this, I get this Facebook pop, and Mr. Elliott-Pritt, he posted to a friend of his named Rusty Williams, which I believe was the gentleman in the yellow shirt.
The one holding the sign with the tattoos on the inside of it. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So he tagged him, and then he said, "I think Mr. Pino would like a debate."
Yes, he would.
And so I replied after that pop. I'm like, okay, here it goes. So I say, I seem to recall having one. Now I'd be more interested in why paid activists are representing to me on camera that no one was paid at that protest. And he comes back after that and says no one was paid. We are all from West Virginia, and most of us from Fayette County. I live just down the road, or I live just down in Fayetteville. And then he comes back and says, "Who told you we were paid?" And so
it's called research.
Well,
research told me that at least one of you were the organizer was paid.
I posted.
If y'all didn't get paid, y'all really ought to go talk to her, because I think y'all missed out on some money.
Listen. You haven't seen we're this is the early phase of the saber duel, my friend. So
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
So I post a link to the West Virginia Citizens Action Group, and I reply, the very person stating no one was being paid is a full-time activist. A West Virginia Citizens Action Group rep confirmed it via phone, and they even have the same signage you were using on their site. So I linked that for him, so just so he could see.
Opening eyes is what you were trying to do at that point, not to be adversarial, but opening eyes.
Well, so he comes back and he says no one was specifically hired or paid to be there, period. Her job is to organize activists and communities for all sorts of different things, not just something like this. And then he, in capital letters, says, asked her to come to Fayette County, and she wasn't paid a dime by me or anyone else from our area. They were from our area, of course. There were four people there.
That's what it means to be paid, is because you paid them, not that there's a larger shadow organization in the background that has millions of dollars that pays for people to do just what she did. We'll ignore that.
And he replied,
we didn't pay her.
He replied, none are from out of state. Now, again, she was born and raised near Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
maybe she moved here for, the month of July,
she
getting ready for this.
I think she moved here because there was an opportunity. I'm just guessing. Now, this is just me guessing.
Conjecture at this moment.
I've seen depositions, that I've found online where she states, in 2015 that she just, was new to the area. So I'm assuming 2015. So she's been here maybe 2 years, a little over 2 years possibly. So that's what I'm guessing. So what she's kind of done is what a politician...
Infiltrated. Immigrated. Moved here.
Well, okay, but what she's done is kind of like what a politician does. A politician will move to an area and be there for a while, and then they can say, well, I'm from here. But, Yeah. Oh, I understand all your perils. I've been here for 6 months, and my residence is unchanged for the last 6 months, and I know all about your problems in this area, and I'm here to help. But anyway, so, he says none are from out of state. Okay. That's his statement. So,
how can you argue that?
So I replied, well, here's how I argued with that. I said, I have it on video, Mr. Pritt, in this very thread, in fact. It was a complete misrepresentation on her part. Add that to the fact that you were in my neighborhood chanting racist things like healthcare is a human right, not just for the rich and white, and it all begins to feel very Alinsky-ite. I'm not the 1%. I lost my health care this year, and so did a lot of other hardworking people in that neighborhood. Shame on you. Leave the race baiting out of my hometown.
Yeah, 10-4.
So that's how I replied to that, and then he comes back.
Well, that was very good. That was very concise and intellectual in its process.
Well, it was veritas is what it was. And
well, it's better than what I would have said. I'd have been like, take your race baiting butt out of my country and don't come back here if you don't like it. That's a little better what you said. You gave him an opportunity to have a rebuttal point where mine was just like only thing he would say, see, I told you they're all rednecks.
Well, here's it gets better. This is not over yet.
Oh, wow, the duel begins now.
So, he comes back and he says, we were all locals. Doesn't change the fact. Take care. I'm sure we will cross paths again. And at that point, I thought he was going to cut and run. And, I felt kind of, I want the man to, I believe in live and let live, but it seemed kind of like saying something like that kind of was almost like a backwards,
Well, to me, and now this is just my feeling from that, our paths will cross again.
It was just an understatement.
Kind of sounds ominous. Not such an overt threat, but a threat nonetheless that we will cross paths again.
Well, and maybe we shall. But it says, sorry about your health care, single payer or bust. Okay? And
wow. Dan, he did it, didn't he? He pulled the trigger.
Well, but no, not yet. He said
single payer or bust. That's the trigger.
He did. Well, he locked and loaded, but it gets better, Mr. Williamson. Just
oh my goodness.
Just a few.
Can it?
Oh, it can. The suspense is killing you, isn't it? So
yes, it is.
So I come back and I say, no apology necessary. I am not entitled to anything. I have bootstraps. And it won't be the first time I've pulled myself up by them. God bless. And so I think that was the end. But then he comes back and he says, join the club. I'm no freeloader either. I just believe our government should be investing in its own citizens instead of corporations.